most of us know, raise your hand if you've heard of St. Vincent de Paul. I don't think there's anybody in this community who hasn't, so there's a lot of good things that happen there. But St. Vincent de Paul of Redmond, Oregon is a nonprofit organization dedicated to serving families and individuals in need while providing others with the opportunity to serve. St. Vincent de Paul offers tangible assistance to those in need on a person-to-person basis. The list of services of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul is endless. No work of charity is foreign to the society. To quote from their patron, St. Vincent de Paul, charity is infinitely inventive. I think we can all agree, being Kiwanians, to that statement. So Lucy, would you please come up and share some what's going on in your world?
All right. Thank you so much for having me here today. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your support. This seems like a great group. I might have to join if you accept. Yes, it's been a long time since I've been to a Kiwanis meeting, and I forgot how much fun it was. I didn't remember about the happy dollars, or I would have bought some brought some cash. I'm cash poor today. Sorry about that. I want to let you know, Earl said something earlier today at the beginning of the meeting about November is coming up, which is Thanksgiving. And it will be one of the biggest months in terms of the need for food. You know, we want to make sure that there is no family out there that does need some food that knows that they can come and get it. We don't ask for income verification. We don't ask questions at all. If somebody comes through our doors on Wednesdays and Thursdays and they need food, we give them food. And Thanksgiving is a big one. You know, especially in these troubled times when we're aching, our hearts are aching for what's happening in the world. Thanksgiving is a time where we can come together and at least share a meal and, you know, share some comfort in one another, that things are tough, but we hold hands, hopefully, and we get through it and we stay strong. So I want to let you know another thing. This is the end of our fiscal year. So in the time that I've been at St. Vincent de Paul, I volunteered for 2.5 years before I was offered the position of Social Services Director. So I've been the director for 1.5 years. In that time, the number of people that we are serving has almost doubled. So the need is great. And a lot of people foresaw that when the SNAP benefits were taken away, that we'd have a greater need for food. And it was absolutely true. People were counting on that extra money to get their groceries on the table. Working moms and dads, 2 full-time jobs, still having a hard time getting enough food. And we all know that food prices are outrageous. So the numbers have doubled. In this last fiscal year, we have served 13,621 adults food, 453 children. The number of households, new households joining is outrageous. We've had 1,095 new households. Now, a lot of people have a perception that we're serving mostly the homeless community, and we are serving the homeless community. But we are serving people also who are not homeless, who are struggling to stay in their homes, are struggling with their utilities. And so in addition to food, we have housing assistance and we have utility assistance. And it's a very big passion of mine because I do believe strongly that if we can help keep people housed instead of pushed out by high rent and into homelessness, they have a better chance of climbing the ladder to self-sufficiency. And so we write grants to raise that money, we accept donations for that money, and so that's another part of what we do to help our community. But food is such a basic need. This last food drive, Earl came in and he said, "Oh, I wish we had more." Well, guess what? It was over 600 pounds of food. And a food box of 40 pounds can feed a family of 5, 3 meals a day for 5 days. So that's 5 days that kids aren't going to school hungry, aren't coming home hungry, aren't going to bed hungry. And they're good food boxes. We try really hard to focus on protein. things like canned chicken, tuna, stew, chili, because that's going to hold people over. But there's also other things in there, vegetables. And we also have produce. So when people come shopping, even if they get that food box, we're still able to give them milk and cheese and eggs and produce. So we're dedicated to providing as much nutrition as possible to our community members. And you're a big part of that. So thank you so much. I have some information if anybody would like to hear more about us. I'm thrilled that we're partnering with you. I'm thrilled that that I was here today because definitely want to be a part of this group. And I'm around all the rest of the time if you have questions. All right? Thank you.
When you talk about the assistance to folks outside of the food, what kind of numbers are we looking at for housing and utility support and things like that?
We're looking at about 2,000 people per month are receiving some sort of housing and utility assistance. Now that number skyrocketed in the last year and a half. And so we've had to do a lot of fundraising to bring those funds in. We've had to write a lot of grants to bring the money in. But we are serving those needs, about 2,000 household members a month.
Where do you get your food from, Luci?
Most of our food comes from Neighbor Impact, who gets it from Oregon Food Bank, who is governed by the USDA.
Okay.
In addition to that, we have grant money that we can spend to buy food, produce, particularly because that is in high demand.
Mm-hmm.
We also have food drives in the community. We have the Redmond Food Project. Those are the green bags that you might see out on the porches. And that food drive is coming up this Saturday. They're a supporter of ours. You are a supporter of ours. And then St. Thomas Church is a supporter as well.
One of the things I've been understanding of the food that we collect is not to have people donate items that require refrigeration, such as milk and maybe even produce, but you don't know when it's bought if it'll last until you can get it handed out. But you mentioned you're doing that, so could you clarify what we should be doing or not be doing?
That's a really good question. So because we are a food pantry and we are USDA regulated, we're not allowed to take that in a bulk manner that comes in and we don't know where it came from. So a food drive, it would be very difficult for us to make sure that that milk had stayed at the proper temperature the whole time, from the time it left the store to the person who bought it to the person who donated it. And it puts us at risk of somebody getting sick and then they're like, St. Vincent de Paul. So we're regulated on that. If a person comes in with their own bag of food and they say, I just got done with my Costco run and I've got some milk and I've got some eggs for you, we just picked them up and they're temperature controlled, we can do that. It's just very difficult to do with a food drive. Does that answer?
Yeah, thanks.
Kind of a follow-up on that. If I happen to have a pig at home and I want to, slaughter it, and can I give some of that to St. Vincent's? How would I go about doing something like that?
That's a great question too, because if you have your pig slaughtered at a meat place like Butcher Boys or
Redmond Smokehouse.
Yes, Redmond Smokehouse, it gets stamped with the USDA stamp of approval, and that means that we can distribute it. Okay.
It has to be USDA.
Yes,
What about frozen foods? Do you take those?
we do.
Well, and I remember last fall, we were able to, Michelle, you might remember there's 2 frozen turkeys.
Yeah.
And I know
From Logan's.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Wilson, and Amber was able to come up left with several frozen turkeys from a grocery store in Redmond, and
Yeah. We
didn't
can
know
take
until
those.
that point we could do that.
Yeah, we can take frozen foods,
So
frozen
with Thanksgiving
turkeys.
coming up,
Yeah,
so they need to be well frozen when you get them.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah. But I got an answer yours about the pig. Give it to them alive.
Oh, God, what are you talking about, Roland?
Back there.
But back to like the frozen food, that is not part of our food drive though, right? Is it the
Right.
same issue? We wouldn't be able to bring.
If you tell me that you're taking 100 pounds of frozen beef that you just slaughtered up to the,
Or-
oh no, and they'll put it to.
Okay, well, you know, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you gotta look across the
If I
frozen
was-
beef and you
if
think
I
that's
was-
happening.
Yeah, if I was coming like from the grocery store,
Yeah.
and I can say, okay, this is just, it's always good, but that's our food drive, so it doesn't really work that well, right?
So you as an individual, because individuals come individually and say, I just got this from the grocery store, it's frozen, cold, here you go. That is, we can manage that.
Okay.
It's harder for us to manage with, you bring in a good amount of food to us, 600 pounds, and we weigh it, and we disperse it, but it's hard for us to be sure that it was kept at that temperature.
But if we want to do something like we did last year with the frozen turkeys, we kind of managed that separately.
Separately.
And verify that it was, had always been frozen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how we did it.
Are there, besides the proteins that you mentioned, are there other particular staples, like bags of flour or sugar or other things? What goes best for your clients?
Boy, the flour and sugar fly off the shelf. Baking powder, baking soda, those things go quickly. And then the easy prepare meals, even though they aren't as packed with nutrition, they do have the carbs and some fuel to keep people moving. So people who are having a hard time preparing meals, the mac and cheese, the top ramen, when we shop with our customers, our clients, and we say, we have this in today. So you have mac and cheese, but guess what? Add some tuna into that. Add some frozen peas. Things so that they can put together a more balanced meal.
So if,
Yeah, go ahead.
so if our team at my office was going to put together some kind of a drive, and forgive me for I'm new, so I don't want to be stepping on anybody's. Is it best to bring that to Kiwanis, or is it best to get that from Hospice of Redmond to you? How is it best to do that if we're going to start something like that?
So from Hospice of Redmond, and you were going to do maybe a food drive?
Right.
Okay. So what really works great is if we know the date that you'd like to deliver the food. So you collect the food at the hospice center, and then you say, and I'll give you my card, Lucy, we can deliver the food on such and such date, and then we'll be ready for you to bring it all at one time.
Okay.
But if Earl isn't gonna say this, I'm gonna say it, is we wanna get credit, Kiwanis, for all of that waste that you're gonna collect, so,
And how does
Yeah,
how does that benefit Kiwanis?
yeah.
Let me talk to you.
Okay.
So I still consider Redmond kind of a small town and we all help each other. I'm just curious, do you work with other nonprofits that do food drives or communicate with people who need help, and how does that work?
We do. We offer referral resources. So we stay in touch with other places, make sure that they know. We have a whole 2-page list of other places where hot meals are available, food pantries that other people that they can go to other than us, things like that. We don't. The food that comes to us is client direct, so it's for people that come right through our door and need the food. The one exception to that is the Step Up program. Are you familiar with the Step Up program? So it's run through Redmond School District, and it's its own school, And the students, many of whom are homeless or disadvantaged in some way, they're in a step up to try to get them to be able to actually graduate. And a lot of financial difficulty is present in this program. And a lot of the kids, they're hungry at school. So we provide some food to the Step Up program, put it in their pantry. The children can come in and they can sign up and they can fill up a bag and they can bring home that food to their families. So we help with that program. And one time I went there, delivering the food, and a lot of times the students are already in class and I don't get to see them. But this time I went there and they saw all this food coming in. And the kids were running up and they were like so excited because they get to bring the food home to their families. And they're like, oh my gosh, they have apples. And so it's just a very rewarding part of our program.
You say they're in their own school? They're
Yes,
separate group?
yeah. I can't remember the address, but it used to be a middle school. But if you look up Redmond School District and the Step Up program, they have their own school. And a lot of the kids, are walking home with bags of food.
It used to be the old Brown School.
That's what it was.
It was. I think it's on. Carl told me if I'm right. It said the Chutes. Blackview.
Yeah,
Road right there.
between Black Butte and Antler.
Yeah.
The Brown School, yeah. That's what it is.
I wanted to say, and Earl, Dr. Earl too, we're very proud of our poundage, but do we also get credit for volume? Like for, because sometimes I'm buying so much canned food, I think, oh, I'd like to buy this lighter weight food, but then we won't get the credit. But then they wind up getting maybe too much canned food.
I'll put a rock in it.
So the other foods count as well,
They do. And cereal is a big one. We almost, run out of cereal almost every service day. So, yeah, you don't get the poundage, but you do know how many bellies are being filled.
Yeah.
Lucy, you said produce. Can we bring produce out of our own gardens, or does it have to be? Okay.
Oh gosh, the produce from your own gardens is so appreciated, and some of our local farmers bring us their produce. We have a gentleman that brings his eggs. He raises eggs. He brings in his farm fresh eggs. So yes, those are welcome.
Earl, this is our last of the year, right?
This year, yes.
So can you tell us how we're doing year to date? And also, I want to say we did, and what we did last year out at this one particular.
Some of that's difficult. What I have on my chart is that we've collected, I was mistaken, I talked at the meeting about 8,000, we had 6,000 some odd pounds that we've collected as a group
This year?
during the time that we've done this.
Oh.
The last session, Leiden talked about 600 pounds. That's because we turned in 553 pounds on that Saturday. But I have also collected, and this happens often, people, I will see them on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, we keep adding it on, so I'm glad to see that it's 600 pounds. So we normally collect about 500 to 600 pounds each time. We've been down to 350, we've been up to 700 pounds.
So this will be our
Last time on Thanksgiving time, I think we collected 700 and some odd
Yeah, I
pounds.
remember that.
Okay, so we need to beat that.
Yeah.
Lucy, do you have any volunteer opportunities if people wanted to get involved?
Absolutely. I have an entire job description list of things that we could use help with. Administratively, checking people in. We have a giving closet where people shop for free, clothing and household items. We need help there. We always need help stocking shelves and shopping. When people come into our pantry, they choose a number and they wait until their number is called, and then they shop. They take a shopping cart around. Well, we need people who will go around with them with that shopping cart and say, okay, we have milk, eggs, cheese, butter. Do you want these items? Okay, for your family, you can have this amount. You want those? Okay, here you go. So the personal shopper is communicating the whole time and making sure that our clients are getting food that they can use. The way that used to be, and is at many food pantries, it's a box of food that maybe they don't like, maybe they even are allergic to those items. This new method is a much better method, but it requires more volunteer work. So yes, lots of opportunities.
Can you explain again the non-food bank services that you provide and how you go about figuring out who needs those?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So our non-food bank services, housing, utilities, propane, those are determined, well, the propane, most people just come in and they say, I need propane. And we say, okay, here's a credit. You can go to Co-Energy anytime this month and get your propane. That's working out great. But the housing and utility assistance, it's a one-on-one process where we sit down, we say, hey, what's going on with you right now that's got you behind? Oh, okay, you know, there's situations, medical, car trouble, you know, somebody died, somebody moved out. These situations, we want to know what happened so that we can look at it and say, okay, you know what, we can help you with your rent this month, but we can also help you with food so that you can take some of your resources and divert it so that you're not behind next month. And so it's a one-on-one process.
Okay.
And then they get approved for however much we're able to give at that time.
Okay.
Do you have any fun tips and tricks of how to inspire people to give? Our food program is amazing. Earl's done a great job, but we've been down the last couple times, and we're like, which isn't strange. A national survey came out that giving is down 14% across the nation. So we're not alone in that. But do you have any tips and tricks that we can share with our membership on how to inspire giving again, or food giving?
You know, giving is down, especially food giving. When it comes down to it, people are going to really want to try to make sure they take care of their families. One tip that I have is maybe to let them know how many meals they are providing. So one of your blue bags, you know, we could calculate it out. I can work with you, Earl, on that and say, you know what, this bag of food that you went shopping all month and you did this and you're donating it, it's going to provide this many meals.
Yes.
So, because people like to know numbers. So the number of meals that we provided in this last fiscal year was 385,000 meals. So numbers like that help people. I also think that the perception of who's needing help can be a little bit skewed. A lot of people don't understand that there are things like generational poverty where it is really hard to climb up out of that. And so I like to let people know that a lot of these people that we're serving, when we say, oh, it's the homeless, the number of homeless children has almost doubled who we've served in the last fiscal year. So there are more children that are impoverished than ever. So those kinds of numbers, and I can help with providing concrete numbers of how many meals Kiwanis is providing, and that might help.
You know, one of the things that I do is like, you know, you get that 2 for 1 kind of thing, or 5 cans of this for $1. Well, you know, buy 4 and tuck 1 away.
Yeah.
Just buy an extra of some of those essentials, and you know, even if you're not doing the grocery shopping in your family, maybe the person who is, you could just give a hint to, you know, grab an extra of this or that, and that it does not really add that much to your grocery bill, because at least for me, I'm looking for the specials that the grocery store has, and or when they have a super discount on peanut butter or something like that, just grab an extra one.
Grab an extra one.
Every year, Fred Meyer, and I hope I'm not jinxing myself, every year at this time of year, if you spend $100, $150 at Fred Meyer doing your grocery stuff or everything non-alcohol. If you spend that much money, you get a free turkey. So when that ad comes out, I'll share it. But if you're a Fred Meyer shopper, throw in the extra turkey.
Nice. That's a great idea.
We just so people know too, that the Fred Meyers and Safeway and those folks really help a lot by giving us stuff at maybe closed out of date or for whatever reason, and it goes out the door pretty quickly. So it would be a hard place if it wasn't for some of those companies that contribute.
It's true.
Well, it's an excellent program, Lucy. Thank you so much for being here. Join us. Yeah,
I would love to
she's going to
join.
take a little picture for
Yeah.
our social media.
Thank you.
I better get used to that. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Okay, and you guys were a little bit out of order, but Bernie, would you come up?
Sure.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that we were doing this today, but we have a gift for Friends of the Children.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
So
Don't expect this every time.
Or
maybe we can.
yeah, so Bernie, we are giving your group $1,000
Wow,
towards your
thank you.
programs.
Thank you.
And can you tell us a little bit about what $1,000 does for your crew?
Well, it does a ton. So, Friends of the Children is a local nonprofit. We're part of a larger national organization that was started in Portland 30 years ago. We provide salaried mentors to children who have had adverse childhood experiences starting at age 5, and we commit to them for 12 plus years. Josh is one of our great supporters and has been for a long time. I'm the new director of development. This $1,000 will have a direct impact on our programs and all we do for kids. So we are extremely appreciative.
Well,
Unexpected.
We're
Thank
thankful for you and for
Thank
your organization and what you do for the children in our community. So thank you very much. Did you already?
Well, I got a nice casual one, but yeah, okay, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, man. Well, guys, I have a little quote. So yesterday was World Mental Health Day acknowledgement. So I have a little quote from you. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. So go out and be kind and respectful to one another today. Thanks, guys.